Welcome to the bottom line, where we have thought provoking conversation in an upfront way. I'm your host, Chase Paper to God. I know that everybody is speaking a lot right now about all of the changes that need to happen in our country. And yes, there are a lot of them. But I am an advocate of changing yourself first. You got to change the things that you do. And we have to change the things that we're demanding of our lawmakers. But that can't happen after they get elected. It has to happen beforehand. Now, in the spirit of practice preaching, I actually happen to have a potential lawmaker with me today, running for House of Representatives in District 3, which I happen to be a resident of. I am happy to introduce Shri Thanedar. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Jamal. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. First things first, I think that background is very important when you deal with these kinds of things. So tell me, what did you do before politics?
I am a scientist. I am a chemist by training. So I am an immigrant. I immigrated to this great country of ours back in 1979 when I was 24 years old. I came here to get education. So I got a PhD in chemistry. And after that, I worked as a chemist and I ran small businesses. And my business did is develop new medicine. So I'm a pharmaceutical scientist.
Okay. With all that said, now how do you think what you did before politics will actually help you if you were to get elected to House of Representatives?
I will be the only scientist in the Michigan House if I get elected. Now, scientists are science based, they think about facts. Facts matter to a scientist, data matters to a scientist. And a lot of the decisions that we do, we take, I'll be making laws, I will be writing laws. All of that needs to be based on data and need to be based on facts and need to be based on science. We are in a middle of a pandemic, COVID pandemic, and we need to develop new medicine. We need to take care of our people's health. Now, the COVID, as you know, disproportionately impacted Detroit. It disproportionately impacted African American community.
Absolutely.
And we need to have in Lansing understanding of health issues, understanding of new pharmaceutical development, and also our economy is in a mess. And we need to revive our economy and we need to create jobs. And that's what I have done last 25 years.
Okay, that's great. Now, let me ask, why District 3?
Well, I ran for governor and I traveled all across Michigan. I spent a lot of time in Detroit and I got a lot of love. I got a lot of appreciation in Detroit. People in Detroit are very warm, they're very welcoming, and I really felt at home in Detroit. And so I felt I want to spend rest of my life doing public service, helping others.
Mhm.
And I felt Detroit like my home. You know, I met many Detroiters and it reminded me of my own family that I left behind when I immigrated to this great country of ours. And I want to work on things like the blight. We want to work on health care for people. We want to work on eliminating, reducing violence. You know, every day we hear about violence in our streets. I want to work on that. And there's a lot I want to do. And I feel like this is my home. So I made a choice. I moved my family, sold my home, came to Detroit, bought a home, and I have made this as my home and my town going forward.
Shri, the police have been an issue for Black people in this country since its inception, and Detroit is no exception. Talk to me about your views on police brutality and systematic racism.
Well, that's a real problem. And, the racism and the discrimination, racial profiling is real.
Mhm.
And it happens every day. And I, as a brown man, I have had my share of police stops. And when a police stops, I see the siren behind my car. It scares me because I don't know what to expect. I
Right.
have my family sitting right next to me, and I worry about my family. I worry about my own life and my own situation.
Right.
So racism is real, and we need to address it. I'm very encouraged by the protesters and the protest all across America. We need to now take this opportunity to make our laws more powerful. We need to build some teeth into our laws so that a racist cop does not get away with those actions. We need to provide punishment. We need to, a racist cop must experience and must be put in jail behind bars. We need to have strong laws to ensure that no cop would do such an act. Uh, we do not want to see another innocent person of color die at the hands of police brutality, at the hands of police injustice. So I am going to work on police reform. I'm going to work as your state representative. I want to ensure that our police force has the diversity. So if Detroit is a city with 80% African Americans, then
Mhm.
our police force must have 80% African American uh, as uh, as our cops need to have the same diversity as our city has. And we need to train the cops about diversity. We need to train them about sensitivity. We need to have conflict resolution, mental health counseling. There is a lot of things that need to be done. Not everything needs to be looked at as a violent situation. Often
Absolutely.
these situations when a police is called require some kind of counseling, some
Mhm.
kind of resolution,
Right.
conflict resolution.
Right.
And we need to have a co-respondent who is a mental health counselor,
Mhm.
a conflict resolution expert.
Mhm.
So we need to look at this situation in a humane way and in a fair way and not in a racist way as has been done in the past.
Okay. My next question is about education. Almost all the schools that I attended when I was in school are actually closed, and the ones that are still open, most of them are using textbooks that are, sometimes a decade old in some cases, and kids are having to go to school farther and farther away from where they live every year. So, what do you think about these issues?
Well, Detroit schools are in bad shape.
Yeah.
We need to fix our education. Michigan ranks almost at the bottom of the states in the nation in terms of quality of education. We also have a lot of inequality among schools in the impoverished areas and schools in areas like Ann Arbor or Bloomfield Hills. They have good schools. They have good funded schools, but schools in the impoverished areas often have funding issues. we don't have sufficient funds. It takes a lot more to uh, train and teach a child with special needs. And we need to have school funding in proportion to the needs of the children, to the needs of the community. We must relook at the funding. Proposal A funding has not worked, has disproportionately hurt impoverished areas, the schools in impoverished areas. My goal is that every child in Michigan, regardless of his or her parents' financial situation, must receive the same quality of service, same quality of education, no matter where they live, no matter what their zip code is, no matter what their parents' economic uh, condition is. So we need to redo the funding, and we need to do the funding on a equitable basis. We need to do school funding based on uh, the need basis, not just zip codes.
Shri, COVID 19 is real. I'm sure you agree. And it's still a thing. As a scientist, if you had lawmaker abilities, if you got elected, what is your take on healthcare, both mental and physical, and the way that we're handling that and the way we should going forward, especially in our district?
We want to make sure that our neighborhoods are healthy, and we need to provide uh, our community members frequent health checkups. We need to have more recreational centers for our seniors. We need to ensure that we will not have another pandemic like this disproportionately affecting our community. We know so we have a lot of empty space. We have a lot of blight that needs to be removed. We need to have a lot of empty spaces. We could have community gardens where people can grow their own vegetables, their own fruits. We need to provide the free medical care in our neighborhoods to ensure that people who have diabetes or hypertension or heart issues get these checked up and they get appropriate help. Mental illness, we need to have a lot more mental illness facilities, services available, not only for adults but also for children. A lot of times mental illness begins when kids are 13, 14-year-old. We need to have counseling services in our middle schools and in our high schools. So, we need to provide services, resources to our community so that our community can be healthy and live a good, healthy life, and be able to deal with situations like the COVID-19 better in the future. Michigan's African American population is only 13%, but if you look at the number of deaths that happened with COVID-19, nearly 40% of all the deaths happened in the African American community. And what that's showing us is with this COVID-19, it's like holding a mirror to our community, and it has exposed the inequality, it has exposed the injustice, it has exposed the effect of poverty, and we need to remedy that. We need to make people's lives better by providing the services that they need, especially services in the um, healthcare arena. We need to have people to have good healthcare services, and I will work on that to bring equality and equity and fairness for all of our residents.
So, with all things considered, why do you think that people should vote for you?
So, as you said, my name is Shri Thanedar. I'm a scientist. I am a small business owner. I know how to create jobs. I know how to take our economy to the next level. I'm passionate about fixing our schools. So, on August 4th, uh, I am running to be state representative for District 3. Now, the absentee voting by mail has already starting this week. So when you vote, please consider voting for me. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your support to be the state representative for District 3. And I'm ready to serve. I'm here to serve. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of skills. I want to bring all of those to make the quality of life. My goal is to improve the quality of life for all residents of District 3. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
No problem. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. Well, there you have it, folks. Shri Thanedar running for House of Representatives in District 3 here in Detroit, Michigan. This is what we got to start doing. We got to talk to our legislators before they get in office and make sure that they are supportive of our needs. If you've reached this point, I truly appreciate you. Please click that subscribe button below to be notified of all future episodes, as well as interviews with the other candidates, music, videos, skits, and more. Until next time, this has been The Bottom Line with your boy, Chase Paper to God. Peace.